Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at how I craft ascended gear. Now I'm not saying this video is going to help you get ascended gear cheaper or that is the best way to craft. It's just the way I do it and it works for me, and I thought that it could work for anyone watching as well. With that said, let's get started. So after looking into changing things up a bit, I decided to play a different class for some time. I'm putting away my Reaper and I'm picking up my Daredevil because I want to play Condi Daredevil, and for that I'm going to need some decent weapons. I'm going to need a couple of Viper's daggers, which I've already crafted, and a Viper's shortbow, which is what we're going to craft in this video. Now we have a couple of options. We can either craft the Viper's shortbow and be done with it, or we can craft a different stat combination shortbow and convert it into Vipers in the Mystic Forge. But before we decide which route to take, let's take a look at how to even get started. Now in order to make this process a lot easier, I use a website created by someone in the community. This website is called GW2 Efficiency.com. If you know this website, you already know how useful it is. If you don't, then this video is a perfect introduction and demonstration of how powerful of a tool it can be if used correctly. So let's go ahead and open up GW2Efficiency.com. Now this website allows you to access information about your account by using an API provided by ArenaNet. It is 100% safe and legal, so use it with confidence. If you don't have an account and a linked API key, go ahead and do so. If you don't wish to use it, you don't have to, but this tool loses a bit of its usefulness without it. Once you are all set up with your account, we're going to head over to crafting. This is going to take us directly into the calculator tool, which is exactly where we want to be. Now that we are here, we can decide whether we want to craft a Viper's weapon or if we will craft something else and convert it in the Mystic Forge. Let's look for a Viper's shortbow, which is named after an NPC whose name I can't pronounce. This is because all ascended items are named after NPCs from the game. The tool looks for the bow within its database and gives you a list of items that match. In my case, I pasted the name, so all I get is one item. Now we'll click on it and all the crafting information is provided right away. We can see how much this bow would cost to craft if I do not use any of the materials I own and if I pay the buy price from the trading post. It's going to cost over 100 gold. Now this is where the tool shines. We're going to tell it to look at my bank, go through it and check to see if I have any of the materials needed to make this bow. Right away we can see that I actually have a lot of the materials needed to make this bow because the cost went down to 4 gold. However, we do have to dig a little deeper because the tool doesn't really show you what recipes you have or need, and because some account bound materials that do not cost any gold are not taken into consideration. The first thing we see when scrolling down is a recipe tree, which can be ignored for now. If you keep going down, you will see that this tool has access to our account and found all of the materials that we own that can be used. This saves a ton of time trying to figure out what we need and what we have already. Now just by looking at this, I can see a lot of map currency materials from HOT, which are account bound and will not be purchasable. This for me is a problem because I don't want to spend time grinding HOT just to make my bow. I do own a lot of the materials, but depending on what I'm missing, I will make the decision whether I will make the Viper's bow right away or if I will just convert it from a different stat combination. This is where the next part of this tool comes in handy. The shopping list gives you a breakdown of what you're missing, how much of it, and how much it will cost you depending on whether you are using buy price or sell price. Now looking at my shopping list, I can see that I need 29 ley line sparks. This is an account bound item which only comes from HOT maps and some story steps. So I am going to go with the Mystic Forge conversion method just because I don't feel like running around Heart of Thorns maps. Now that I have decided to make a different stat combination, I'll have to decide which one. Since I have crafted armor and weapons in the past, I am sure that I have unlocked recipes ready to go. But I also know that there are Berserker stats and they cost a bit more to craft. If you don't mind the extra cost of crafting Berserker stats, then by all means go for it. But I want to find a stat set that is cheaper to craft so that I can use it for this bow and for ascended weapons in the future that will require the same process. At the time this video was made, I looked at ascended inscription prices, and Rabbit looked to be fairly cheap, which most of the time, but not always, translate to it being cheaper to craft, so I went with Rabbit. After some wiki research, I found that Ascended Rabbit is named after the NPC Gristlemouth, so the bow we are looking for is called Gristlemouth's Shortbow. Once I find it by typing in the name, I'm going to get all the information we got before. This time, I'm going straight for my shopping list. Before we continue, here's a quick thing to know about using Berserkers, which most people have unlocked already, versus looking for the cheaper alternative to use now and for future crafts. Rabbit inscriptions are not crafted, they come from salvaging exotic weapons with rabbit stats. Also, rabbit stats are not very desirable, which makes the demand for them lower, which in turn makes them cheaper. If we take a look at Berserker inscriptions, we will find out that they need to be crafted, which makes acquiring them a bit more difficult. Also, since it is such a desirable stat type, the demand is very high, which makes them very expensive. Comparing both of them side to side makes it very clear that going with rabbit stats from now on will save us a lot of gold. Now prices change and other stats can become cheaper, but in my opinion sticking with rabbit stats, even if they are not the cheapest at some point, is still better than having to invest on unlocking new recipes. Back to the shopping list. As you can see, I don't need much to finish crafting this bow. From looking at this, I can already tell that most, if not all of the time-gated items have been crafted already, so I should have this bow crafted in no time. Now that I know what I need to buy thanks to the shopping list, I'm going to place my buy orders and wait for my items to come in. It shouldn't take long since it's all wood and wood moves at an alarming rate on the trading post. While that happens, let's take a look at the recipes I need in order to craft this ascended bow. If you're converting from rabbit to vipers at the end, you will need the following. An ascended inscription recipe for 21,000 karma from a master craftsman, either an artificer, a huntsman, or a weaponsmith. An ascended shortbow recipe for 5 laurels and 3 gold from a master huntsman. We'll be able to select our Gristlemouse rabbit stats from both of these. Now if you're going for vipers right away, you'll need the following. A Yesith Viper's inscription recipe for 600 aurelium and 3 gold from an Exalted Mastery vendor in Tartar. A Yesith shortbow recipe from a weapon recipe book of the same name, which comes from Exalted chests, but I recommend buying the recipe on the trading post. At the time of this video, it was only about 50 silver. And whether you are converting at the end or not, a Viper's Orichalcally imbued inscription recipe is needed. You can get this for 250 lumps of aurelium plus 10 silver once again from the Exalted Mastery vendor in Tartar. This means that no matter what you do, at the very least you will need the minimum of 250 lumps of aurelium. I know it sucks, but it has to be done. As a side note, please make sure that you don't already have the recipes needed unlocked, because it would not be fun to have the recipe twice, trust me, I know. Also, make sure you unlock all of your recipes on the right character with the right crafting discipline. Once you've gathered all of your recipes, it's time to pick up your order of materials and start crafting. The next part of this tool is an awesome crafting steps list. You can follow the list step by step, and at the end you will end up with the desired item, or you can just use Guild Wars 2's crafting tree feature. Once you crafted all of your components, all that is left is crafting the bow. Now that we have an ascended bow, if you went for vipers straight away, you're finished. If not, you have a rabbit ascended bow and you want to convert it into vipers. Simply use what you have learned already about crafting with GW2's efficiency calculator and make a viper's inscription. Once that's done, take your bow, viper's inscription, 5 ectos, and an anthology of heroes purchased from a Mystic Forge attendant for 10 spirit shards. Toss it all in the Mystic Forge and you are done. I hope this guide was useful in any way. Do keep in mind that things change, the API website can be modified, therefore lowering this guide's usefulness. Also, prices always fluctuate, so always do your research. Big thanks to the creator of GW2Efficiency.com for an awesome website. If this video was useful to you, please hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching and have a great day.